y'all, welcome back to my channel, At Home with Willowberry. Or if you're new, welcome. But where have you been? I'm so happy to see you here. My name is Valerie, and in today's video, I'm going to try to bring you some good old-fashioned homemaking motivation here in my 50-year-old mobile home located up in the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. I have some chores to catch up on, and then later I'm making dinner for my family. We're having egg roll in a bowl, y'all, so if that's something you'd be interested in, then I hope you'll stick around and enjoy the video. How are you all doing today? I sure hope you're having the best day ever. We're doing pretty good. We've been really busy renovating Granny's bathroom. Tim installed the vanity and new faucet, so now we have a working sink in there. We didn't film it, but I did show a clip of the vanity at the beginning of the video. It turned out absolutely beautiful. Later today, he plans to install the toilet. We're making great progress, and hopefully the bathroom will be finished within just a couple of weeks, and I can't wait. Well, y'all, my house is a mess, so I decided I better get it cleaned up, so today's the day. I'm going to clean up here in the bedroom, fold some laundry, and then I need to deep clean my kitchen. My kitchen is trashed, so I really need to give it some attention. Later, I have a small grocery haul for you, and then I'm making dinner. It's going to be a full day of mobile home homemaking, y'all, so I better get to it. Well, y'all, the bed is made and I dusted the lamps and furniture. So now I just have a small load of laundry to fold and put away. So that's what I'm going to work on now. I have a bad habit, y'all. If I try something on but decide not to wear it, I'll just toss it on the recliner instead of putting it away. Well, the pile is getting out of control and it's driving me crazy, so I'm going to get it cleaned up right away. sure does feel good to have a clean bedroom, but now I really need to spend some time cleaning up this messy kitchen, and I'm going to get started by washing the dirty dishes. Alright y'all, the dishes are washed, so now I'm cleaning out the sink, and once I'm finished with that, I'm going to wipe down the counters and the stovetop. I can't tell you how good it feels to find some time to clean this kitchen. I've put it off for far too long, and you sure can tell. We've been so busy renovating Granny's bathroom, and the kitchen just wasn't at the top of my priority list. I would like to deep clean the kitchen at least once a week, but sometimes life gets in the way and something gets pushed to the back burner. Well, in this case, it was the kitchen. Well, y'all, I'm excited for dinner tonight. Egg roll in a bowl. It's basically a deconstructed egg roll, and it sounds delicious. But first, I've got to clean the kitchen. I really wanted to take a minute to thank y'all who have been following our bathroom renovation process. I know it's been a while since I filmed a Cook and Clean with me video, but you still showed up and watched whatever kind of video we put out. It seems that no matter what we film, you still enjoy watching our videos, and that really means a lot to me. We've been so focused on finishing the bathroom, and it's really coming a long way. It won't be long before I'm decorating the finished bathroom, y'all, and I can't wait. There's just a few things left to do before I can start decorating, though. We need to install the shower surround, build some new shelves for the linen closet, and then frame out the window. I tell you what, Tim has been working so hard to get the bathroom completely finished before we leave on vacation, and I'm so thankful for him, that's for sure. Alright, y'all, I'm almost finished cleaning the kitchen. Now comes the most dreaded part, sweeping and mopping these dirty floors. It's not easy keeping them clean between 3 teenage boys, 2 dogs, and Granny's wheelchair, where we're always tracking in mud. It's especially bad after it's rained. I wish I had the time and energy to mop every day just like my mom used to do. I don't know how she did it, y'all. We grew up in a single wide with a 2-bedroom addition, and she would clean it top to bottom every day except Sundays. She would get up each morning and sweep, mop, vacuum, dust, make beds, and clean the bathroom. She was amazing, y'all, and I tell you what, I miss her every day, that's for sure. Alright, well, let's go ahead and get these floors cleaned up. Yay, the kitchen is finally clean, and man does it feel good. I just need to put away the clean dishes and that will be it. Tim should be back from Kroger with the groceries soon, so I'll share a small haul with y'all, and then it will be time to make dinner. Our son started a job for the summer, and he's usually ready for dinner as soon as he walks through the door, so I've started cooking earlier in the afternoon. Alright, well let's put away the dishes so we can get dinner started. Well, y'all, Tim just got back from the grocery store. He picked up groceries to make dinner for tonight and tomorrow night. Tonight we're having egg roll in a bowl, and tomorrow we're having chicken tortellini soup. So I just thought I'd show you what we picked up at the grocery store. He picked up this 5-cheese tortellini that we're going to use in the chicken tortellini soup. So we picked up 2 packages of those. We needed some celery, some green onion, cilantro, cabbage. Ours isn't quite ready to be picked yet. We got some carrots and some shredded carrot. Got some soy sauce and some hoisin sauce. We needed a bunch of chicken broth, so we picked up several containers of that. We got the chicken broth by Swanson. Picked up 3 of these ground pork. I'm going to deep fry some egg roll wrappers to go with our egg roll in a bowl. So we picked up some egg roll wrappers. I wanted to add some rice noodles to the egg roll in a bowl, so we picked up 2 packages of those. Carnation instant breakfast and a beautiful watermelon. So that's our little grocery haul. now a bit later in the afternoon, and my son will be home from work in about an hour, so it's time to make dinner. We're having egg roll in a bowl, deep-fried egg roll wrappers, and white rice. To get started, I'm going to rinse the long-grain rice and get it in the rice cooker to steam. Egg roll in a bowl is basically just a deconstructed egg roll. It has ground pork, cabbage, onion, carrots, and it's seasoned with ginger, minced garlic, soy sauce, sesame oil, and rice wine vinegar. It's super easy to make because everything sautés in one pan, which makes cleanup a breeze. Alright, well let's get the rice cooking so I can chop up the cabbage and onion. I need to brown up 3 pounds of ground pork with 1½ onions, and I'm using my new 17-inch cast iron pan that I found on Amazon to cook it in. If it wasn't so hot outside, we could make this dinner on the Blackstone, but it's nearly 100 degrees out there, and that's just too hot to be standing over a hot Blackstone, that's for sure. I've never had egg roll in a bowl before, but I tell you what, it sure does smell delicious already, and I can't wait to dig in. But it's not quite ready just yet. I still need to boil the rice noodles and fry up the egg roll wrappers. I also need to chop up some cilantro and green onion to add to the pan. So if you're ready, let's pull this dinner together, 'cause my son should be home very soon. I love finding new recipes to try out. I found this recipe for egg roll in a bowl on thekitchen.com, and I'll link it down below in the description box in case y'all want to give it a try. I can tell you now, this meal was a big hit with the family. They especially liked it with the deep fried egg roll wrappers, which is what I'm about to start cooking right now. Dinner is ready, y'all, and man does it look amazing. I'm going to give it a taste test and then I'll call everyone in to make their plates. Well, y'all, I guess that's about it for another video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to talk to you again real soon. I hope you all have a great week. Bye, y'all.